Peace and grand rising to the heirs. Today is January the 10th, 1441, on the moon calendar, the sovereign original indigenous moon calendar, and 2021 on the ancient Roman calendar. We are right now this weekend. The first thing we want to acknowledge is the sovereign solar return of our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, on January 8th. We don't want to go any further until we acknowledge his sovereign and divine tribution that he brought to Earth, to Gaia, to Midgard, in order to assist in the uplifting of all.
Welcome to the Pauline Shit Show. How you doing, honey? I forgot about you.
We're grateful for all of fallen humanity being included in the grand rising, to include the sovereign heirs all over the earth.
I see.
So, Islam, grand rising. So, our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, left us words to live by. And
always Kendrick Bay,
all
Islam.
Rising Islam. Thank you for coming, Empress. I would encourage all Moors to...
Happy New Year, Cult Moops.
I would encourage all Moors to do as much research and study on Prophet Noble Drew Ali as possible, so that we can, this is really important, so that we can know what happened back then, so that the grand rising continues and is not thwarted, because there's some lessons that we can learn. We appreciate everything that our prophet brought to us. He showed us who we really are. He, among many others, our ancient ancestors showed us who we really are. And we want to make sure that when we look back, yes, we look back in solemn remembrance of him and all that he contributed to us and to the movement. And more, equally as important, we want to make sure that we look back and see what happened, what caused the movement to be thwarted, so to speak. I mean, but our ancestors know what they're doing. Everything is by design. And we make sure that we don't repeat the same thing that happened then, now. So when I look back on that time period, what I see as being one of the main issues that sort of stopped everything once our prophet, was taken off the scene, off the scene physically, because he's never off the scene. But one of the main things that we see that happened back then that we have managed to fix now is the capitalism part. Because I'm now seeing articles, and I'm sure you all are too, seeing articles that and documents and things that are coming out now about the movement back then that we have not seen previously. And those things that are coming out now point directly to capitalism as the problem. I saw a newspaper article, and I did post it on social media, on Facebook, my Facebook page at Light Tajiri Bay. I posted an article on January 8th that had a photo of our prophet, and it was talking about how he was, he had the remedies that keep us living longer and healthy. He had those remedies. But the more I looked at the article and saw the capital letters and the black ink, the more I knew that most likely those who control the capitalist system or who previously controlled a previous fallen capitalism system, those people were not going to let those remedies that he had get out to all of us. If those remedies were able to get out, we would have them today. All of us would. They would be as regular as going to the grocery store and getting the same poison that we get from the grocery store. But they were thwarted by capitalism. That capitalist system, black ink in capital letters, is not going to let anyone get that stuff out, get the remedies and the solutions that we need out in that system. We have to come out of that system, the capitalist system. Our prophet had some mind-blowing remedies and solutions. And in the article, he named some of those things. He said he had solutions that will cure cancer and tuberculosis and all of these other diseases. But that could not be done under capitalism. And at that time, if you look back into our history, those of you who know the financial history know that at that time, the Federal Reserve was being set up. In the event that the Moors did not do what we've done and what we continue to do now.
Welcome to Pauline Socialism. This is Pauline Socialism.
Which is, what we've done now is proclaim the gold standard on this land so that fiat does not reign any longer in our lives. We're in transition now. We're transitioning out of the use of fiat. Yes, we still use fiat sometimes, but I'm so grateful for all Moors who have put their sovereign divine affidavits with gold clauses in them on the public record, because we have flooded that system to the point where there are more gold-backed sovereign credit instruments on the public record than there are fiat instruments. And when I say more, I mean in terms of the amount. Some Moors have put documents on the public record with gold clauses in them with 39 zeros behind a 1. So a duodecillion worth of gold.
You're so fucking full of shit, Pauline.
You see what I'm saying? And so when Moors, each one of us, the lien documents that we've placed on the public record, those documents, each one of them has a clause in them that says that for all of the occupying parcels, the parcels that the fakes and frauds are occupying on this land, it's $100 million for each Moor. So each one of the liens, now there are thousands and thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of liens that are on the public record that have been placed by the heirs. And those liens have overshadowed the net worth of the Federal Reserve and the United States Corporation Company Treasury by eons, by light years. That is monumental. So as a nation, we continue to break the spells that were cast over our land in honor of the Prophet Noble Jew Ali. It's by our actions that we honor him. Sometimes people say, oh, you all don't mention the Prophet enough. We're honoring him with not just mentioning him, but action. That's going to make it so that we don't end up colonized again. So for every Moor who's filed a lien, for every Moor who has said anywhere, even one time, I'm a Moorish American national, it's by those actions, the court actions, and all that the Moors are doing. The active Moors are honoring the Prophet by their actions and not just by their words. That's what honor really is. So we're not just playing church with this. We're actually doing what needs to be done so that we can further do. We can build on what the prophet did. So we honor our prophet Noble Drew Ali because we could go all day talking about how capitalism and the Federal Reserve fiat system has ruined the lives and the relationships of so many Moors who were asleep and didn't know who they were. Presumably ruined because it's not permanent. When we declare who we are, it's a wrap. Those systems have no power over us and no control over us. And now we're just continuing to demonstrate our way out of them and step into our sovereign status fully as the wealthy sovereign heirs that we are. So we honor the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, in all that he did and all that he brought to the table for us to eat off of and to grow from and to be nourished by. So we honor him in all that we do. So we wanted to take the time to say that first, and I'm sure that you all feel the same way about our prophet, that it's by the things we do that we honor him. And so, having said that, we've made so much progress. So this is basically for all of us, that when all active Moors woke up and began doing this work that we're doing, we sought, all of us sought, to fully restore the de jure sovereign, original, indigenous, Moorish American consular court. That was what we, myself and Justice Chalet Morbey and Justice Sage and Empress Sharon and Justice Juremore and the Moors that are and were a part of the Moorish American Consular Court and the judiciary and the Consular Court Restoration Development Team. There are so many that I can't name them all, but my heart is with you, because the work is being done and continues to be done by all Moors. And when we started the work to restore that, we had no idea what that would look like when it's fully manifested. Today, our sovereign courts are restored because Moors all over are doing court actions. And I mean, when I say all over all lands, Moors are doing court actions. We have Moors doing court actions in the UK. We have Moors doing court actions at China territory, Northwest Africa, which is here. We have Moors doing court actions in the islands, French Guiana, Islam.
You're aware of the monkeys playing in the chat, right?
No, I don't see it. Let me see.
They are.
Okay. Well, we will do what we do with monkeys and place them back into the forest where they normally do, where they need to be. They need to be doing their business. Let's just find them and see.
Anonymous.
Okay. Just a second. So while I find them, let me continue with what we're doing here so that we don't get off task, because that's what they want to do, get us off task. But it's impossible. We're better than that. So today, our sovereign courts are restored, which is an ongoing process. Okay. And Moors on all lands from America and everywhere are doing court actions, and they have escaped the slavery of corporate court venues. That was our goal, because that is where the fraud was taking place, that enslaved so many of us and that put us in situations that we did not want to be in. Just one moment. Can you hear me, Justice Dearmore?
Islam.
Islam,
Yes.
good. Okay.
Yes.
So with the sovereign court actions that have been done, we have escaped that corporate court system. So any Moors who have court actions or supposed court dates, okay, supposed court dates, Grand Rising, with the fake court venues, they do not have to go to those fake court venues if they are competent to demonstrate their sovereign status, where more consular court actions are concerned. Okay.
Come on, Pauline.
Just one moment. And so we Moors earthwide are fully and competently exercising our sovereign judicial rights and authority fearlessly and honorably and in eternal tribute to both Prophet Noble Jew Ali and our ancestors. Okay? So we are doing all that we should be doing.
You're fucking full of shit.
With regard to that which is our vast estate. And that will not change. It's not going to stop. We're going to continue doing all that we should be doing with regard to the vast estate of the Moors. So, as we have stated in the past,
you're full of shit,
when we contend a thing with our command is be, and it is. It is our job to restore the vast estate. We can't wait for someone else to do it. And not once have we ever thought that foreign colonial commercial mercenaries even had the authority to give back the vast estate. The estate belongs to the heirs. No one can give it back to us. We give it back to ourselves. And that's what we've done. With the restoration and reactivation of our courts, which are the most powerful aspect of the restoration of our government. Because if you, we all know that the fake Congress, etc., they were all quote unquote attorneys. Because they knew that it was by court action that the vast estate is governed. And so that's why the restoration and reactivation of the sovereign, universal, original, indigenous, natural, divine, Moorish American consular courts was so important. And I do see why it was so important to our Grand Sheik and Consular General Taj Tariq Bey. That was something he was talking about while many of us were still in our sleep, that the courts needed to be restored. And so in our reactivation of our sovereign courts, it is now being made very clear to us, to all of us, with sovereign clarity, that so many other activations are occurring simultaneously. Okay. Let me hang on just a second. Let me see where that is. Okay. Just 1 second. Let me get rid of them. Let me take out the trash. Islam. So there are other activations that are happening in connection and simultaneously as we have restored the courts. So with the assistance of each and all Moors, that's all Moors, because all Moors have been actively pursuing freedom on our land, With the assistance of each and all Moors, we have reactivated the gold standard on the land. We have reactivated the earth-wide, universal, original indigenous, commercial code 1 lien process en masse. Now, Moors were doing liens before, and we honor their work. We honor their work. That is never to be minimized at all. The process has been given now to all Moors publicly on the public record so that they can also exercise that process freely from start to finish. And then the Moors have been doing their study on how to further that lien process and how to perfect it for them, for each one. And so that is another reactivation that has happened in the last 2.5 to 3 years en masse so that all Moors can do it. Tens of thousands of Moors are currently hearing about, because that is actually one of the most effective processes that have been restored en masse. Tens of thousands of Moors are hearing about it, they're learning it, they're doing their study, and they're demonstrating the lien process, and they're using gold-backed lawful affidavits as sovereign financial instruments, because that's what every lien is. It's actually a financial instrument to competently express our sovereign status as heirs to the earth's largest estate and present that each one of us is well aware of the vast wealth that is the said sovereign estate. So those of you who have looked at the lien process, but you've not felt, like you don't feel like you're competent enough to do it, continue to study it so that you can put it in place. There are templates out there that have been made available freely. They don't cost you not one red cent. Do that process so that you can increase the value of the estate by that amount, whatever is on the lien. See, that's the thing that again, many don't know, is that when we do liens and court actions, we're creating finance and wealth in our nation. And with every lien, our nation increases in its wealth and in the wealth of the vast estate by those documents and by the sovereign autograph that's on them of the heirs. And that's each and every one of us. Gold backed. And that's why we don't put fiat in our liens. They're gold backed. With the assistance of all Moors, we have reactivated the massive energy of the Moorish American Al-Moroccan peacekeeping law enforcement body necessary to secure the vast estate. So let's talk a little bit about that. On January 21st, right here on this very platform, we're going to have a unification and peacekeeping summit of all Moors where law enforcement and the continued securing and ongoing securing of the vast estate is concerned. All Moors are to secure the estate in one way or another. We secure it. We're not surety for it. We secure it. And so all Moors are invited on January 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, and 4 p.m. Pacific time to come on to this platform. We have some of the voices that you've heard from our nation over the years who have been doing this decades longer than I have, who will be contributing their sovereign energy. And we'll be announcing some of those who are going to be sharing their erudition information with us on that day. Some of them have already agreed to do it, and we're very excited about that. And they're Moors that we all know and love. And we're going to continue looking forward and implementing the law enforcement and peacekeeping arm of the Moorish National Republic federal government and of all the nations. Because the Moorish National Republic federal government, if our law enforcement is activated, which it is, then we need to assist our brothers and sisters in activating as well. And then there are other nations who have activated, and they're assisting us already as well. So the summit is simply to place on the public record, this is the purpose of the summit, January 21st at 7 p.m., to place on the public record that all of the original indigenous nations of the earth are awake, we secure our own vast estate, and that regardless of whether we agree or not in some of the concepts and things that we, and our interpretations of the law, etc., we agree on this one thing for sure, that we are kin, we love one another, we're going to always agree on that. We're going to stay as one, even in our separate nations and governments, because they're not really separate. They just have separate appellations, our nations and governments do. And we choose to, and sovereigns can do that. We can live in the way that best suits our sovereign energy. But we state on the public record that we are one still, that we are not to be, we cannot be separated, and we're not going to be separated, regardless of whether we're debating having a healthy debate about the things that go on our land. But where enforcement, law enforcement, and securing the vast estate is concerned, we're one. And if our other brothers and sisters need assistance, we're going to assist them. And we already know that they will assist us because they've already committed to do so, and they've done it. And continue to assist us as we continue to grow and keep our energies clear and maintain the vast estate in the way that our ancestors want us to do it. And so that's with the assistance of all Moors that we have accomplished these things. And with the assistance of each and all Moors, I want to make a special announcement today and give special thanks and public honor at this time to the Moors who assisted in the reactivation and restoration of the sovereign original indigenous United States Post Office here on our land. We have reactivated the sovereign original indigenous natural divine United States Post Office for all original indigenous Moors at America. And that means a lot in terms of how we proceed. And it's only going to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. So the question is, how have we reactivated and restored this ancient sovereign gold-backed universal financial arm of our government? The documented historical timeline is as follows. And I'll mention some of the Moors who assisted in getting this done for our nation. First, let me mention that all Moors have assisted in restoring the United States Post Office and its arm to our government. Simply by any documents that you mailed through the post office, i.e. that which was unlawfully hypothecated as the Postal Service Corporation, if you took anything to them that was a sovereign original indigenous document, whether they sent it or not, you still made a statement that we're here, we're awake, and whether this goes through or not, we're still going to demonstrate. So all Moors have assisted in the reactivation and the restoration. Let's keep that up. Let's keep doing that as often as we can. How have we done it? Here's the timeline. I want to thank Empress Postmaster General Alessandra Ali for her great work in this restoration effort that we actually accomplished. She's the Universal Postmaster at Savannah, Georgia Territory, and she manifested the first sovereign parcel specifically for the original indigenous United States Post Office that would travel the eastern seaboard by sovereign hands only, and it would never enter the United States Corporation Company. The documents and the parcel mailing stayed in sovereign hands the whole time and was held, created, manifested, documented, and received by sovereign heirs, specifically for the purpose of reactivating and restoring the United States Post Office. So she took those documents, and let me read the timeline out. The documents traveled from Savannah, Georgia Territory to Brooklyn, New York. It was specifically and strategically planned for December 30th to December 31st in honor of the grand rising of the Red House. Because we know that by January 1st, January 2nd time frame, in 1492, there was a presumed fall of the Red House. But all that we're doing with regard to the courts, the gold standard, and all of that, and then the activation and restoration of the court, the activation and restoration of the post office, and all of that is done in honor of the rising, the grand rising of the Red House. And so at 5:23 p.m. on December 30th, the sovereign parcel in the hands of the Postmaster General left Savannah, Georgia Territory. Now, we know that all Moors are Postmaster Generals. Remember that. Every last Moor is a Postmaster General. All Moors are consuls and judges and justices. All Moors. We are the law, and we are the government. All Moors are sovereign. Why? Because they came from a sovereign womb. At 8:42 p.m. on December 30th, the parcel carried by the sovereign postmaster crossed the South Cairo, and from our last call, we know that South Cairo and North Cairo here on our land is actually, it was actually hypothecated when there was a line drawn between North and South Cairo, and they called it Carolina, North Carolina and South Carolina. So the sovereign postmaster and the sovereign parcel crossed South Cairo into North Cairo at 8:42 p.m. on December 30th. The said parcel and postmaster passed by the American military installation of Fort Bragg, North Cairo, which is ours. It does not belong to a corporation because it's still on our land. That was at 9:27 p.m. There was a stop at Richmond, Virginia Territory, and that was at 11:54 p.m. on December 30th. And then crossing over into December 31st, arrival at Staten Island, New York Territory at 6:47 a.m. on December 31st. The parcel and our Postmaster General arrived there. And then the travel and movement of the sovereign package, still in Moorish hands, arrived at Brooklyn, New York Territory at 10:44 a.m., still in the hands of our Postmaster General. At 11:07 a.m., Noble Asim L. at New York Territory, who we honor. The documents arrived and were placed in his sovereign hands at 11:07 a.m. Noble Asim autographed the return receipt, and that document and the documentation of its travel was then recorded by Empress Postmaster General Alessandra Ali. So for historical purposes, we're documenting the movement of all that happened because we know that we all are proving that we're competent to document our own post office parcels. That was the purpose of the exercise. And then the exercise continued. That was the Eastern Seaboard, but then we needed to go from coast to coast with a parcel that never enters the United States Corporation Company. It has to stay in the hands of the Moor. And the Moor must know that that is the purpose of the document. So the ancestors, see, we announced this 7 months ago. We announced that all Moors were postmaster generals and that we were going to implement this process. And so it took 7 months because there were so many other things that needed to be put in place in terms of active Moors actively letting the fake corporations know that, putting them on notice by putting documents in that system and letting them know this is a sovereign. We're nationalizing our post office by our own actions and not by getting permission from any court. And so this is all strategically planned out in that manner so that we prove to ourselves that we didn't need a bunch of fiat to do what our ancestors sent us here to do. And so the first parcel was delivered within the Moorish Empire because all were in the jurisdiction of the ancient ancestral Al-Moroccan Empire. So the document stayed in the ancient Al-Moroccan Empire all the way up the Eastern Seaboard. So it stayed within the Moorish Empire across the territories without ever leaving ancient original indigenous sovereign hands or sovereign land. It never left our land and went into the sea and got lost at sea. The document stayed with us, and I'm excited about that. With recorded documentation of our first historic action in alignment with our sovereign proclamation as postmasters of all the earth, that was recorded on May 21st. There was a video that was recorded with regard to that. And on December 30th and December 31st, that was accomplished by the Moorish nation. Empress Postmaster General Alessandra Ali and Postmaster General Noble Asim El accomplished that in the favor of all Moors, because that's how everything that we do is done. So now all Moors can say, our post office has started delivery already. Now, this is a transitionary process, so we may still have to use those structures that some still think are corporate, but they're not corporate. We've already fixed that. Anytime there's even one sovereign on the land who says, I'm Moorish American national and everything on this land belongs to the heirs, to all heirs, then it's a wrap on that corporate claim. So now, after that, we wanted the process to be nationwide, one going from quote-unquote sea to shining sea, but in reality, coast to coast. So on January 8th, which is our prophet solar return, there was strategic planning by the Moorish National Republic federal government, postmasters, to honor our prophet by meeting that coast-to-coast mandate of restoring, let me say restoring, and reactivating the post office for the original indigenous heirs, whereby documents are delivered from start to finish by sovereign hands only, created by sovereign hands, packaged, tracked. The tracking was most important in terms of documentation and delivery. So let us put on the public record now that proper sovereign tracking was accomplished and achieved by the heirs as sovereign postmasters general in support of the reactivation and restoration of the post office. the United States Post Office. Why do we call it the United States Post Office in red in all lowercase letters? Because it encompasses all of the nations of the United States, which has nothing to do with a corporation. It's all original indigenous nations. There are no corpses and corporations and foreigners in the United States, in red in all lowercase letters. And doing the study on incapitis diminutio minima and maxima will assist those who need assistance with further research and study and understanding those competencies. So at 5:14 p.m. on January 8th, the Sovereign Postmaster for the Savannah, Georgia territory, and there are several, we have other justices in these territories who are sovereign postmasters. Postmaster Alessandra Ali prepared a mailing parcel. That mailing parcel demonstration was recorded both on video and still shots. The parcel was then given to Postmaster General Joey Cox Bay. He took the parcel. He departed Savannah, Georgia territory with the parcel via conveyance at 5:07 a.m. on January 9th, so the day after. He departed Myrtle Beach, South Cairo at 9:15 a.m. He arrived at Atlanta, Georgia territory at 10:15 a.m. with the parcel via airplane. At 6:06 p.m., he arrived at Salt Lake City, Utah territory with the parcel still in hand, so sovereign hands only. And at each stop, there was documentation sent out to us, letting us know that the parcel is en route, and at each stop, we were notified. The parcel is here, the parcel is here, the parcel is here. At 7:35 p.m., Postmaster General Joey Cox Bay departed Salt Lake City, Utah territory with the parcel in hand. He arrived at Pasco, Washington territory at 9:47 p.m. on January 9th. And at 11:11 p.m., I want to be sure that I thank Empress Postmaster General and Justice Simone Selket L. and Empress Amor Michelle Bay, who accompanied me to go to travel 3.5 hours to pick up the documents, so that we ensured that they stayed in sovereign, original, indigenous hands. So the package was picked up at 11:11 p.m. by the three of us at the Pasco Tri-Cities Airport. The package then crossed over Snoqualmie Pass at 1:11 a.m. on January 10th, which was last night. The parcel arrived at the Moorish American Consulate West at 2:45 a.m. this morning. So thank you again to Empress Amor Michelle Bay, who assisted in making her story, and Empress Simone Selket L. for assisting with making history where the Moorish Nation is concerned. Thank you, Justice Joey Cox Bay, Postmaster General at Pasco, Washington Territory, and Empress Postmaster General Alessandra Ali, for your dedication to manifesting that which we said we were going to do it from one coast to the other, and it was done in honor of Prophet Noble Jew Ali and the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the Earth. So we're very proud to put that on the public record, that our post office is living, it's breathing, it's active, and it is sovereign, and outside of or without the United States Corporation Company. So thank you to those who participated in manifesting that spell, because we know that when we do those types of demonstrations, we are breaking spells that have been on our land for hundreds of years. And why do I say it that way? I say it that way because the Service Corporation is like the little tiny wizard behind the curtain projecting his image onto this giant screen and making it seem like things are too big for us to do and that we need all of their fiat to accomplish anything. We didn't need it. We can do it with what we have. The spell is broken over our land. And so it is as simple as that for any of us, any Moors who have done demonstrations. We want to honor all Moors. We don't want to overlook any of the Moors who have done these demonstrations. Because Moors are doing demonstrations all over the land. And I don't think that we realize the magnitude of them. What you're doing, Moors, might seem like it's small when you take one document to the post office and they say all types of crazy stuff because there's a corpse in between you and the post office, pretending to be you, the American, the sovereign, original, indigenous American. And there's a corpse there that's talking all types of trash. Moors sometimes feel like that's not having an effect and that's not major. It's major. Each demonstration that is done by each one of us is major. Major. Because we don't realize that it's being done all over the land. So now the wizard who has projected themselves onto this big screen doesn't look so big anymore. Because there are many more doing the same thing, demonstrating. And believe you me, and you don't have to believe me, but in those back rooms and those board rooms that they have, they can pretty much take a tally every day. Oh, today we had, 647 more to show up at the different postal services, saying the same thing and using the same letterhead and the same process. Oh, it's Tuesday and we had 843 more to show up at the postal service, quote unquote postal service, that's no longer existing. Especially when the sovereign post office is doing its living, breathing proclamation on the land. We don't realize that we're that far reaching, but we are. So we wanted we're going to be saying more about the post office because if you do, for those who are not aware, and most Moors are aware of this, but for those who are not aware, the post office is the bank of all land. And so in support of that and in furtherance of that, we're going to continue moving forward in this direction step by step by step by step, making sure that we keep everything in alignment lawfully so that we continue to manifest the estate in this way. And it is thanks to all Moors who've gone to the counter and done even one demonstration. It's thanks to all Moors that we are to accomplish those things. So now, let us move on now to, because see, this is all connected to our sovereign courts being gold-backed sovereign courts. Because all court actions are a financial instrument. Everyone knows that those doing business as fake judges are bankers in reality. They were bankers. Not anymore, they're not, but they were presumed to be bankers. So we want to talk a little bit about that and about jurisdiction where those are concerned.
Jeremoop, how come you never do any court actions, Jeremoop? Jeremoop, how come you?
This is what we want to do, that we know the connection between the demonstrations, the national demonstrations like the post office demonstration, and the finance that is connected to that, and the court and jurisdiction, et cetera, is concerned. Because, see, there's some things that we did not know, and that's why some more still continue to go to those fake venues. They don't realize that there's also a price attached to them being there. And those fake courts, for any of those fake courts to start doing the things that they were doing, they first had to file documents through their fake corporate post office or postal service, rather. They had to, or they couldn't be doing the stuff they're doing. So we're rebutting all of that publicly. That's the purpose of these demonstrations, is to rebut publicly on a universal scale all that has been done on our land that we don't, it has nothing to do with us. So let's talk about attorneys and jurisdiction, et cetera, in those fake courts. And this is, again, in support of the consular court and in support of all that we're doing so that we continue to free ourselves from that system. We've made great progress. Let's keep going. So I want to talk a little bit about Corpus Juris Secundum, Volume 7, Section 4. It's with regard to attorney and client, so that Moors know that they will make you think, those fake courts will make you think that they're doing you a favor by assigning a fake attorney. The reason they're so willing to pay for a fake attorney is because they already know if the Moors accept that, the Moors are paying for it. Corpus Juris Secundum, Volume 7, Section 4, Attorney and Client. The attorney's first duty is to the courts and the public, not the client. And wherever the duties to his client conflict with those he owes as an officer of the court, which is, they're not really officers, in the administration of quote-unquote justice, and notice this is all in black ink with capital letters everywhere, the former must yield to the latter. In other words, they have to do what their fake masters tell them to do. Their fake masters are the court, the fake corporate Walmart court. Those are their fake masters. So they're never going to assist, especially not the heirs. That's not even their job. Those doing business as clients of said attorneys are called wards of the court in regard to their relationship with their quote-unquote attorneys. Corpus Juris Secundum assumes courts will operate in a lawful manner. If the accused makes this assumption, he may learn to his detriment through experience that certain questions of law, including the question of personal jurisdiction, and in our case, personam jurisdiction, may never be raised and addressed, especially when the accused is represented by the bar. So there is some information that we must know and have where these fake corpses are concerned. When attempting to go into those fake foreign venues, and that's why we don't go to them. We do a court action in place of going to fake court and we want to know who it is that's saying that, you know, that someone has to appear in a court. Well, there's no other court but the Moorish sovereign court on the land. There are Moors everywhere who have courts and are doing court actions. Those are the only real courts. Yes, in the chat, attorneys are shield bearers for the foreign corporation crown. So they're not going to be thinking about the heirs, except that they want to capture the beneficiaries. That's what they're doing. That's what they're attempting to do. Capture the beneficiaries, which is the heirs. That the heirs are the only reason they set all of that mess up in the first place. So we rebut all of that with what we're doing. Each and all Moors are encouraged to do court actions. Each and all Moors are encouraged to do court actions. So that you know that then you become the banker. You become the master of your own destiny and your own lives. And so that no fake, fraudulent, foreign, hybrid commercial mercenary can take control of anything that has to do with your sovereign status. Let's go a little further with this Corpus Juris Secundum, Volume 7, Section 4, Attorney and Client. Where jurisdiction is concerned, jurisdiction, once challenged, is to be proven not by the court, but by the party attempting to assert jurisdiction. The burden of proof of jurisdiction lies with the assertor. The court is only to rule on the sufficiency of the proof tendered. So what that really means, this is what that really means. What they're saying is that we heirs cannot keep saying that they don't have jurisdiction, they don't have jurisdiction. You can say that all day long, but it's only when you prove that they don't by holding court over them that you've proven sufficiently that they don't have jurisdiction over you, but that you have jurisdiction over them. There must be something that fills the vacuum of saying that they don't have jurisdiction. You can't just say they don't have jurisdiction and leave it at that, because then the question becomes, well, who has jurisdiction in this case? The heirs do. How do you prove that? Show that you have jurisdiction by doing a court action. That's the only way to prove that you have it. That's the only way to prove that you have jurisdiction is a court action or a default judgment, sovereign affidavit. That's the only way to prove. And when you put all of those actions together, then you have an entire financial package that says, no, gold-backed sovereign affidavits are far more powerful than any court and corporate document. That's what you want to say. That is what you must prove. So sometimes, like in the past, we've been saying that their fake courts have to prove they have jurisdiction. No, they don't. By going to them, you give them jurisdiction. The one who's making the statement that, hey, you don't have jurisdiction on me, you actually have to prove that. You have to prove it. We didn't know that, did we? We thought they had to prove it. They prove it every time Moors go in there not knowing that they don't have to be there, but that they should be doing court actions over that fake corporation that's attempting to call them a court and put them in jail. And Corpus Juris Secundum is old law. It's old. We wrote the original. And then, of course, they capitalized them and tried to make them seem like it was something that it wasn't. But it is our job to prove jurisdiction because we're the ones saying they don't have it. And the only way to prove that is to assert your own jurisdiction. Assert your own sovereign jurisdiction over the said court. And in reality, all we're doing more, we are the coroner for the corpses. All we're doing is saying, we pronounce you dead. Get in the grave. Hiram Abiff is no longer there. We pronounce you dead. And dead can't do anything for the heirs. 6 feet under Islam Empress Alexandra. 6 feet under. We actually have to put them there every time a court. It's like the show The Walking Dead. Every single court that comes your way attempting to call you the court, you actually have to pronounce them dead on the public record. Liens and court actions do that. Not only do they pronounce them dead, but they say they don't have jurisdiction over the Moors. When we do court actions and liens and put them 6 feet under. So we're seeing it written in the law. It's in the law. And those Moors who have sent quo warrantos saying, prove that you have jurisdiction, that was the right step to do. It was right to do. It is right to do because we know that they can't prove it. But then you must turn right around and show them who does have it. It's like someone saying, oh, I can bat this ball further than you. I can do this and I can do that. And you're saying, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. And they say, yes, I can. Yes, I can. And so then you just prove to them. You say, no, you can't. And then you prove to them that you can bat it farther by doing it. Islam in the chat. If we do not bury the corpses, they stay around and stink up the place. Islam. So from this point forward, again, all that we are doing, all that all Moors are doing, it's working. Let's keep doing it. It's working. And the next piece that we're doing in order to make sure that our courts are protected and secured, and we know that they are already because we've been doing court actions, and we're good. But the next step is to implement the sovereign law enforcement and peacekeeping officers of our court, so that we can then have our court actions done face-to-face with one another, calling fakes in, etc. And we have our sovereign peace officers there as well. And remember also, all Moors are the sovereign provost marshal. All Moors are the sovereign provost marshal. That piece comes into play in our courts as well. So we elevate the security and the law enforcement of our courts above that of bailiff. A bailiff is fine. A sovereign bailiff is fine, not a fake. Not bailiff in capital letters. We're talking sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine bailiff, in red and all lowercase letters, in proper person, in propria persona, sui juris, bailiff. But we elevate our court actions even higher by placing the provost marshals in our court. Now, for those who know the the authority that the provost marshal has in our state court. This is not our goal, but I will tell you the authority, or I'll just tell you what the provost marshals used to do in our court. Now, again, this is not the goal of our court, because we don't need more corpses on our land. But back in the day, when we held our court, and there were foreign occupiers coming in, and we called the foreign occupiers into our court. If the foreign occupier lied in our court, we could tell the provost marshal to shoot them in the head, and he would do it. Sovereign justice does not play at all. That's how serious all that the direction that we're moving in is. It's a matter of life and death. And some would even be decapitated in our court because we didn't play when it came to that. But we have to be first honorable in doing all that we need to do first. That's what all of this is all about, is ensuring that first the heirs are honorable and that the estate is restored properly and lawfully to its greater than its former glory. And that can only be done by sovereign court action and sovereign lien on Morse government letterhead in red in all lowercase letters with peace energy on them. And that's the reason why peace is so important, is because when we're peaceful and we're competent and we're honorable, then any foreign energies that come into our presence and they're not honorable, it is our duty and responsibility to end that energy and to make that energy go out, away, back to the ethers. But before we exercise, we are exercising that type of authority. Before we exercise that type of authority, we must first be in alignment. Islam, Empress Portia, there's a time for peace and there's a time to apply law, and those times are both now. They go hand in hand. They're together. They're twins. They're Siamese twins. So that is what we wanted to put forth today, so that we as the law and as the government keep it on the public record that we are absolutely moving forward. And so that all Moors know that it is by their sovereign actions that this nation goes forward and grows and grows and grows and grows. Are there any questions about corpus juris secundum? Are there any questions about jurisdiction, about the post office? Now, with regard to the post office, I would encourage all Moors, the next time you have a document that you want to go somewhere, just do that demonstration for yourself and place it on place the scheduling of that document's movement on the public record, and say that this document stayed on the land. It never went out to sea. And the more of those we see that manifest on our land, and the more court actions that manifest on our land, then we can properly say we are all competently governing the vast estate and our own affairs. And what we're doing is not even aimed at foreigners. It's aimed at making sure that our land is what it should be. We don't have to worry about foreigners in reality because they can only do what we consent for them to do. And by doing the things that we're doing, we're proving that we can do whatever we want to do on our land when we're lawful and peaceful and competent. So anyone who wants to do that demonstration where you track the movement of your packages, etc., it would be great to see more postmaster generals in action on the land that way as well. Islam. Are there any questions, comments, etc. about that? Or about anything, actually? Yes, I forgot to talk about that. I forgot to mention, sorry, I'll mention in just a moment, Empress Alessandra. That's beautiful.
Islam.
Islam.
How do we bring a court action in our courts against an entity that's bringing an action against a sovereign?
It's very easy. You first must know that those fake courts cannot bring an action against a sovereign. They can't. All they do is they address a corpse in capital letters in black ink, and then they hope that the sovereign does not know they're not talking to them.
Well, thank you so much for that response. But I've already gotten the action transferred to another court because of the demonstration that I did at the lower court level.
So then you claim the court.
Well, the courts, I'm representing the courts.
Why? Why would you represent the dead?
Well,
that's a good question. So how do I dispose of the matter?
The matter is disposed of by notifying all corpses involved that you are the living and that you are not any name in all capital letters and black ink, and that you're not any name even with one capital letter and black ink, but that you are the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine, living being who is in red, which is the mood of the writing that should be correct. It is in alignment with your bloodline, in red in all lowercase letters. Have you done the study on in capitis diminutio minima and in capitis diminutio maxima?
Yes.
Okay. Then you know that capital letters minimize your status down to a corpse if you choose to be that.
Yes, and the documentation that I sent to the lower court was in all lowercase red lettering.
Yes. So then the documentation that you sent them should not be defending a court.
No, it was in a statement of who I was, who I am.
Islam. So then you said that you got it removed to a higher court. If it didn't move to the Moorish American Consular Court, it didn't move to a higher court. It just moved from Walmart to Target.
Thank you, and that's my issue.
Saying.
Well, yeah, that's my issue. How do I get it moved to the Moorish American Consular Court?
You do the study on, are you familiar with the lien?
Yes.
The lien action? Okay.
Yes.
Do a lien on all of those attempting to have you claim that you're a corpse. Do a lien on them.
Okay.
And then do a court action. Court actions take 10 minutes to do, and then stand on that court action that you don't have to go to their fake courts or anything like that because they're not even talking to you. They're talking to a corpse and hoping that you claim the court. And by moving it, you have claimed it. However, jurisdiction can be invoked at any time with the sovereign.
Okay.
So you must invoke sovereign jurisdiction, okay? And that's simply done by an affidavit that says, I am, and you state your appellation, in capitis diminutio nolo, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio haeredes, no United States corporation, company, citizen, nor their agents, principals, heirs, nor assigns, nor any derivatives thereof, has personam jurisdiction over me nor over any more. I hereby terminate all corporate contracts with the United States Court, all presumed corporate contracts, because we never really had any contracts with them.
Exactly.
With the presumed United States, okay. So then don't go make any by trying to move it from one of their fake courts to the other. Bring it into your sovereign court, because you're the court and you're the law.
Right.
How do you do that? Send them a command to appear in your sovereign court.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Give them a command to appear and tell them we normally use this type of a platform, and we say be at freeconferencecall.com/whatever channel, channel you set up for them to be at 2 o'clock at this time, or 3 o'clock at this time, or 9 o'clock at this time, to state your name and nationality for the record. And then at that time, you log on to free conference call or whatever, Zoom or whatever your platform is, and wait for them to appear. And criminals don't like to come to court, just so that you know. And so whether they appear or not, you do the action, because ex parte actions means the party's not there. But we do them anyway. They do them. They were doing them on their courses anyway. So you do the court action. Call them forth. And an example of that would be on YouTube. I just did one last week. Another court action. I'll put the link to the court action that I did in the chat. Can you see the chat? Are you on by computer or phone? Nobility? Can you hear me? If you're talking, you may have muted yourself. I'm hoping that you did not, because we can't hear you. You can star 6 to unmute. Okay, I'm not sure if he can hear me. But I'll put in the chat a link to the court action that I did last week. And you can do a court action on all of those corpses who are attempting to call you a corpse. And the language that we use for our court actions will be in that video. So you can just copy the language that I used in the video and substitute your sovereign appellation where the justice is, and substitute their court's language and who they are as a court, where those corpses are in my court action. Okay, so just one moment. I'll put that in the chat. One moment. As soon as I can get it. Empress Alessandra, can you put the link to the consular court action? My computer is moving really slow. To the court, go to Light to Jury Bay channel on YouTube and put in the chat the link to the last court action that I did. Please. Thank you, Empress. I appreciate you so much. My computer is moving really slow right now. And it usually does, because I have a whole lot of stuff going on here all at once. Okay. So you do the court action on them, and then you notify them that a court action has been done on them and that you have the sovereign jurisdiction. and that and then you give them you impart justice according to what's being said in that in the video. We impart justice when we do our court actions, and we sentence them, and we tell them the American Provost Marshal is coming to get you and put you in jail and remove you from your office. Is that, and hopefully, can you hear me, Nobility? Because I cannot hear you if you're speaking. Just one moment. Okay, so that's how court.
Now I'm just going to touch on these. You can go.
The court. That is how. Just 1 second.
The first week.
Hold on for just a moment.
Satisfaction with their circumstances. They let dissatisfaction with their circumstances.
Just one moment. Just one moment. Okay, there we go. Empress Alexandra, thank you for that. It's in the chat. Okay. So those who need to show that they have sovereign jurisdiction over any and all corpses, go ahead and do a court action on them. Lien them and do a court action on them. And then sentence them. Give them justice. Put the justice out there.
Islam.
Okay. Islam, Empress.
Yes, Islam, Empress Light. I had a situation, and I did want to bring it to your attention. I have been doing court actions and mailing off to the Provost Marshal a copy of the court action along with the original with the red ink signature of the arrest command. All the way back to August, they've been holding them. And I went to my mailbox last week, and I had 12 envelopes in there, all of them stamped refused. At the very top, they opened it with, a letter opener, because it looked as if the actual, certified tab, the green tab on the back, was undisturbed. Now, the weirdest thing is that I just kind of make it a habit because I don't like to lick my envelopes. I go on and pin it down, and then I put the green stamp over it, knowing that that's going to secure it. Well, when I opened each one, the normal way, each one was sealed tight as if it had been opened that way, but you can see where I guess the agency actually opened it, and then they covered the opening up with a with a piece of tape, and the tape states Pentagon Force Protection Agency, and at the bottom it says Semper, and please forgive me, I can't hardly see it, but it says Vigilance, if I'm seeing it right, Vigilans. I just don't I guess I'm really confused because if they're refusing every one that I've sent, I did speak with Justice Abbasi, and he stated that office that I mailed it to is no longer available, which I could understand them saying that, but they did put that stamp on there, so it is them. And I was just wondering why would they refuse all of my the work that I've done. Islam.
Okay. Islam, thank you for that question, Empress. They didn't refuse it. They can't refuse it, you see. So when they open it and look at it, they're responsible for the information that's in it. It's kind of like when a fake sheriff puts an eviction notice on a corpse's door. They don't care whether the corpse sees it or not. they still go and do whatever they do, right?
They do. That's correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay. So when the sovereigns speak, you know, they can say, oh, we don't want to hear that, we refuse, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. If they heard it, they're responsible for it, and they know that. The agency that's receiving those documents, they know that when the heirs send the documents, here's what they normally do, and they've done it as well with yours. They scan them in and make sure that they know that who the heir is, because we needed to notify everyone that the heirs are awake. So then when they scan the documents in, I think they probably just gotten a little lazy. So they just return it via the post office instead of repack, because they used to repackage them up and, you know, put them in an envelope and put that same tape over it and send it, and they would be charged for that mailing by the post office. Well, it's easier just to return it and say, oh, we refuse this. They scan it in.
I see.
Yes.
Another thing I wanted to share with you is that on the first 3 that I opened, it was clearly highlighted, and I don't even have a yellow highlighter at the current time, so I knew it wasn't me who did that, and that was just, you know, I said, well, somebody has touched this document clearly. Now, the others were not, but the first 3, they clearly highlighted the very first, what would I call them, corporate corpse. So I have several on there, but they did highlight the very first one on the first 3.
Which one did they highlight, just out of curiosity?
They highlighted, okay, sure. Let me, oh boy, I might have to go back through, but I can tell you on memory because that's 12 of them, and I just went through them. So, but anyway, the first one was the Federal Reserve System, Federal Reserve Bank, and Federal Reserve System. That one was highlighted. I'm moving quickly. I do apologize. I had all of them here, and I just went through them because I wanted to see. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. Well, that ought to tell you that they looked at them, and not only did they look at them, they read them.
Another one was Eddie Holiday.
Yeah.
Real estate agency. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. One, but it was another one, and I do apologize. I can't remember that other one.
That's okay, Empress. That's all right. You've given us good information. That's good feedback right there. We can use that information.
Okay, awesome. I guess I'll talk to you at another time because there's a couple of others that I'm kind of wanting to do, but a little hesitant. And I know that you told us to do the ones that we're most, I don't want to say afraid because I'm not afraid, but I guess I would say hesitant. And I just would like, maybe I'll call Justice Chair Moore because I know you're quite busy, but I just wanted to run it by someone before I move forward.
Well, Empress, let me say this about the demonstrations. First of all, many congratulations on your demonstrations. Clearly they're working.
Islam.
Because you have let them know that you're here, that you're awake, and that you know who's who and what's what on your land. That's good. And to highlight the Federal Reserve, they're pretty much just trying to say you're sending it to someone who doesn't exist anymore. So we can't really go get them because we then got them. They're gone. And then the heirs are. That's why we're saying what we're saying about the post office, the sovereign post office, and the sovereign United States of America, which is all Moors in red and all lowercase letters. That black entity does not exist. They have no standing, no nothing. It does not exist anymore. No one's even there. I'm surprised somebody was there to even put tape on the stuff.
Yeah, that's what because I was shocked. I was like, well, they did touch it,
Yeah, they read it.
And why, you refusing it? I mean,
they didn't refuse it. All they're saying is, we don't need to get the ones that you're talking about because they're pretty much done.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
those people are not there.
Yes, I need to go back to work.
Yeah. Keep demonstrating interest because those types of things. See, Moors need to hear what's going on and how the demonstrations are turning out and all of that. They need to hear that so that they will recognize that when they've done a demonstration, the demonstration hadn't failed. In fact, it succeeded even better than expected.
Wow.
The Federal Reserve is not even a thing. It really isn't.
Yeah.
It really isn't.
And
not where the Moors are concerned. You know. But it's good that you did the demonstration, though, because that lets them know that you knew who was doing the fraud.
That is true.
You're just proving your competence, your level of competency, that you've risen from your sleep, and that you know exactly who's who and what's what, and that you have the authority to govern all of that.
Yes. Now we now have a new. I do apologize.
Go ahead, Empress.
We have a new provost marshal. I don't have her name in front of me. And the last court action that I did, I sent my arrest command to her attention, and I'm hoping I did the right thing. But I guess my next question is, do you suggest me to continue to send them?
Yes.
Because they're on public record. Okay.
You can. That is absolutely up to you. Since you said that they're on the public record, if they're on the public record, Empress, you don't have to necessarily send them. The public record is really what they should be looking at because they're public servants. Suppose they were public servants. They don't even. Now you mentioned that we have a new provost marshal.
Yeah.
Empress,
yeah.
What is your appellation?
Oh, I'm sorry. I am the provost marshal. There is a provost marshal serving the corporate corpse. I want to clarify. I do realize what you're saying, and that's since we were sending it to Kevin Vereen in the past, I didn't know if I should send it to this Moore. She's a Moore.
She's a sleeping Moore. Yes, she's a sleeping Moore.
Yes, and so I didn't know if I should send it to the fake corporate corpse, which I would, prefer not to. But in my mind, I'm thinking that they're going to get their information and they're going to do what they've been commanded to do. But
listen. If anyone who thinks they're not watching everything we do is, just
I know they're watching.
So when you do, what we invite them to watch, you see, because, there's some stuff they need to know. So that they don't get leaned up in court, all in court and all of that. They don't need to be, they need to stand down and get in their rightful status too. And so, when you put them on the Moorish American Consulate Public Records page, they look at those pages.
Well, Empress, I did want to ask you. I keep talking over you, and I apologize.
Go ahead, Empress. I'm excited for you. Go ahead.
I'm so excited. You don't know, and it's been going on since last March, so it's just been a great time in the midst of chaos. I do want to say that.
Yes.
But I've learned so much from you and the other empresses, and it's just there's no words, and I'm grateful all the day long. All the day as I'm drinking my water. So, but I did want to share with you that I've been following you since March, and Empress Malo had suggested that some of us, if we would like, is to use a site called Calameo. And since I started posting my legal documents on the public record there, I just kind of wanted to keep everything organized. And that was going to be my next question to you, if that is okay, or do I need to transfer those documents over to the Moorish consulate website?
Wherever you put your documents, they will be seen by those who need to see them. So that is
good,
up to
they
you
are
as the sovereign. Yes, you're sovereign, Empress. You can put them wherever you want to put them, and whoever it is that's whatever corpse it is, they might want to tune in. They better pay attention.
Yeah, because they are looking. But the one thing I did is just a little kind of strange to me is that they look at all of the documents except, when I say zero views for the arrest commands, but they'll look at everything else. Everything, but nothing for the arrest commands. It's almost as if they don't exist, and they're there. Every one of them are there.
Well,
so,
Empress, how many of the people that you have sent arrest commands for do you think are actually still there? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know, and I'm going to be quite honest. I can't even fake that one. I don't know. Because I thought that they were. Because I've sent quite a few. I've learned to consolidate, so I've kind of put in quite a few on one. So, when you add them all up, the 60 or almost 70 documents I've got on public record, not 70 court actions, but, just everything all together. Yeah, it's quite a few people. Quite a few, Empress.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo. Now, let me say this, Empress. Many of them have already been arrested, and some are using COVID as an escape route so that they don't have to explain why they're not there.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
This is a great time for us. Let me just say that. It's a great time for us, Empress, and that's what this is all about. So, but we should keep doing our demonstrations so that our level of competence continues to increase. That's what the Grand Rising is really all about.
Yes, and that's what I see in myself. I have grown quite a bit in several different areas since I have been with the consulate, and it's just I can't be grateful enough. Although there are some things that are happening around me that I'm not comfortable with, but that's what goes into what I'm going to call Justice Jermore on, because it's got justice has got to step in, and these type of things must stop. And it can't continue, not just for myself, for any other more on our land. We must be respected at all times. And I understand that they want to watch, but there's certain things that you can and you cannot do. So I do apologize for going too far with that, but you understand how I'm feeling.
There's no such thing as too far. Listen, Empress, the things that are going on around you that are making you uncomfortable, I would actually love to hear one or two of them if you care to share, because those things that you're saying, like you don't want to see things happening with other Moors, I will tell you this: save yourself first, and you'll be able to assist everybody around you when you do that.
And that's what I want to talk. That's what I want to talk about: is saving myself. And through me saving myself is to help other Moors who are being challenged with the same challenges that I'm being challenged with, because I show it as a sign of not honoring who I am. And as you stated, everyone must get in alignment. So you said everyone. And that's what I want to talk about, is the everyone. So.
Yes. Let me say this about let's just say family members, neighbors, friends, etc. Where family is, kin is concerned, our brothers and sisters from the same Stargate.
Yes.
I'll just as a suggestion, I would say to again focus on saving yourself first, and they will listen after you've saved yourself.
Exactly. But it's not the friends and family that I'm talking about. I'm talking about agencies and fraternities and fraternal orders and things like that. And maybe I'm going too far, but I'm serious.
Lean them, Empress, and call them into court. Lean them and do a court action.
It's going to be some serious liens. So,
Yes, do it. Those are the only kind of liens we do, the serious ones.
I know that, but I'm just saying it's just that something that I never thought that I would stand up to. I'm about ready to stand up. So, I am. I've been ready, but I just would hope that things would have kind of, went another way, but I'm just gonna do what I need to do and move forward.
Yeah.
You kind of given the go ahead, and I'm going to do that. So.
Well, you know what? I can't give you the go ahead because you're sovereign. I can't tell sovereigns what to do, you know. But I can make suggestions, and I will say this, Empress. There is a
Are you there, Empress? Is anyone else here?
I'm here.
Yeah, here.
Islam.
Yes.
Islam.
We can't hear you, Empress Light.
She'll be back. Islam.
Yes, Islam.
No Moop Clown Guard take over a post up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me more? Okay.
Islam.
Islam.
That's how you know that. Okay. Anyway, so what I was gonna say was this: when there is a formula for everything that's bothering the heirs, there's a formula of remedy that we can do, and we're learning to perfect that formula. The formula is because Empress, you talked about fraternal orders and et cetera, Masonic this, that, and the third, you know, that kind of thing.
And we are the true Masons. So yeah.
So then the fakes need to be leaned and called into court and set down somewhere, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Bingo.
They do.
Bingo.
They do.
Yes. Islam, Empress.
So
yes.
So there you have it. That is the formula because you know, no need to worry about it. Just do that formula right there.
Islam.
That's it. That's how we do.
Yes. Yes. Islam.
Simple.
And I think I've
governing
taken
this
up
land is
very
going to be
much
simple.
time. Yes.
Go ahead, Empress.
Yes,
Go ahead, Empress.
That's going to be it for me. I yield. You've helped me tremendously, and I'm not going to take up any more time. There's probably other people that have questions also, so I'm going to yield.
Yes, thank you so much, Empress. We got this. Governing our vast estate is very easy. It's going to be very easy now that we have done the study and we have our formula and the way to do that, where we're all speaking the same language and all doing things as in unity. It's not going to be difficult at all. Whenever we see something on our land that needs to be done, we just lean, do a court action, and keep it moving. You know.
Well,
Hello?
Islam.
Are there any other questions? Yes, go ahead, Empress.
No, someone, we thought you were gone, sorry.
No, go ahead. Are there any other questions or comments? Any other questions or comments?
Islam. This is Kenya, Houston L. And I'm new to the nationality process. I've been working with Brother GMR to accomplish that. And I just wanted to know if you guys are going to have any classes for new Moors that are coming in in regards to some of the processes, the lean process as well as the action process?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So those classes will be announced on these calls and on the public record. They're going to be continuous and ongoing. Okay. We're right now we're ensuring that as we begin to get into the flow of a regular schedule of both classes and national calls, that we keep that at a pace that is comfortable for everyone. Okay, so we are going to have lean classes. In fact, we're going to just start from square one with the lean and give you examples and all of that in the coming days and weeks. Okay.
Okay.
The lean, support actions, and all of that. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Are there any other questions, comments, etc.? Yes, Islam interest.
Islam. Yes, I've been doing some research on the CPS department and found that where it goes all the way back to the Queen and where it actually started, when it actually started, like 1912, actually 1878, when it first started. And I just found a lot of information about that they are the ones that are...
Go ahead, Empress.
They are the ones that are over all the CPSs that's through our nation and internationally, actually. So, you know,
where did you find that at, Empress? If you don't mind my asking, how did you come across that information?
Well, I was looking. It was on what was this site? It's a site, HH. Actually, what I really did at first is I was researching who was the CEO of the United States, who was the CEO for that. And then on that site, it had a link in it that was hh.gov, and it started giving you just information just over and over about all the way back from how, like, they have different acronyms and what those acronyms meant. And it just, in each link, it just went all the way back, and how CPS, they were in trouble just not too long ago, like 2014, and it was the someone in the, I have his name, I can't even pronounce his name, that was in Wales, and he's over it. That's where I got the link. That's how it started, and then all that information, I just researching all of that information that was in every link of what.
But the initial website was what? What was the initial website?
Well, the initial website I went on, actually I went on Google and I just Googled the, I put that, I asked about, put that in there, who was the CEO of United States. And then in her link, because they just changed it out this year, actually, and in her link on her page, it had her CEO, and then he had a link to, and just went back, and then it was HH.gov, and then you can go on different acronyms of what, how they strategize it. And then they give you the CEO of the strategist that, he implements or sets out a strategy for CPS, DPS, all of them to go by, to just really basically, and why they do it. They try to use like poverty, mental health, and all of these things, but it really just, it's in their sites. It just, all that information just came.
Empress, thank you for that information. Now, what I want to make sure that that any questions that you have, that I address them before I say what I'm going to say about aid and help and them assisting and all of that.
Yes.
So this is why we're doing what we're doing. We need to prove to ourselves that we do not need foreign aid on this land. We don't need them. We don't need them.
Yes.
We can do our own, we can deliver our own mail, do our own nails and hair, okay?
Yes.
We can govern our own vast estate. We can do our own courts. We can be our own police and law enforcement and peacekeeping. We can govern our own erudition, teaching, and learning. We're doing all of that ourselves right now. It's not, it may not be to the fullest extent that we all want to see it, but that's why we're all seeing the deficiency. So we can fill the deficiency in our nation so that we don't have to have we don't need anything from them. And that's why I keep saying what I'm saying about all that we're doing. This post office thing, we can deliver our own mail. And if the letter is a little bit late, it'll be a little bit late, but we'll get it there. Okay? If our schools, our erudition, teaching and learning temples, it may not look the way some want it to look right now, but we got to keep doing it because we don't need foreigners teaching because they're not even teaching anymore. They're just putting policy enforcers in there to take the children. So what you're saying about CPS, anyone who's having any issue, and even more who aren't having any issue, that court ought to be at the top of the list of any liens and anything that's going on this landmass because they're traffickers of children.
They are.
Yes. Anyone who's concerned about children being trafficked ought to learn the lien process and the court action process.
Yes.
And do it on any and all CPS agencies and quote-unquote departments of human and health services because they're not helping anyone.
Wow, it's a lot of, yes.
It's a lot of them. But see, notice the agent is notice the principal. And notice the principal is notice the agent. When you lean the head, you got the rest of the body because the body can't live without the head.
Wow, yes.
We're very powerful, and we should be doing that. Yes. Each and all Moors, each Moor should be doing liens and court actions on these fakes and foreigners and corpses on our land. So, Empress, you have the authority to do whatever needs to be done with regard to whoever it is that's attempting to animate their dead bodies on our land. We pronounce them all dead. We pronounce them all dead today on this public record and this broadcast. We pronounce all corpses dead. Dead. They have no authority on this land. Moors, keep leaning them. Keep leaning them. Keep doing court actions. And just like the Empress was saying before, that was speaking before you, Empress, you know, she's sending things out and people aren't even really there because the Moors have been leaning and court actions and leaning and court actions and leaning. We pronounce all corpses dead.
Dead.
We don't need them.
No, we got this.
We got it.
Yes.
We got this. So we're strong enough to do it, Empress, and that's what we're doing. When Empress, Postmaster General Alessandra, and Postmaster General Simone Selquette, and Postmaster General Amor Michelle Bay, and Postmaster General Joey Cox Bay, and myself did that demonstration, we're breaking spells and casting spells on those who try to make themselves look like they're so big and that we can never overcome them. It's a wrap. They're done.
Yeah.
They're finished. And CPS, same thing. They look like a big bad wolf, but they're really not. We got this. Let's get them. Lean and do court actions on those fakes.
Yes. Islam.
Our heirs are depending on us, Empress.
Yes, they are.
Islam.
And Islam. Empress, are your questions answered with regard to what you wanted to bring up with regard to those? And thank you for that resource information, because we're going to be looking at hh.gov and any of those others, wherever else that rabbit hole leads us. I'm grateful for empresses like you who go down the rabbit hole and start looking through and finding things, because at the end, at the bottom of the rabbit hole, I can already tell you who's going to be there.
Right.
The ones you found.
Wow.
Those three entities that have been doing that have been at the bottom of everything.
Yes.
The fake Pope, the fake Queen, and that fake United States Corporation company. Those fakes are at the bottom of everything. We got to lean. Court action. Islam. Does that help, Empress, with what you were discussing about?
Islam. Oh, wow.
Yes, we're very powerful. Yes, get them, Empress. We with you. Get them.
Islam?
Islam justice.
Yes, this is Yezreal Peretz Bay, North Carolina Territory.
Yes, Islam.
A link in the chat, and I'll post it back in there again. Take a look at that video, and within the first 3 minutes of that video, you'll hear a couple of Europeans corroborating the fact that the United States corporation has been terminated.
Oh, yes. They're done. It's a wrap.
Yes, right. Yes. He gives the date. He says as of July as of June the 5th, 2019. And remember the lien went out on August the 6th. And so within about 9-10 months, it had matured. And remember also that they wobbled when they shut down for all of those weeks. They wobbled. That happened after only about 3 months.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's wrapped. It's wrapped. But take a look at that video. I'll post it again. And look at
post it back in there so I can see the link, Justice.
Okay, I'll put it in. I yield.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Justice Yezreal. That's just, the videos even that I've been seeing out there on, out on the public record as well are saying, they're all saying the same thing. They're done. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And all we have to do is keep doing what we've been doing. Keep doing what we've been doing, because guess what? They weren't going to wrap themselves up. We had to do it. They weren't going to volunteer to be wrapped up. We had to do that. That's our job. So
Islam.
Let's keep going. Yes, Islam, Justice.
This is Ezekiel Bay, Los Angeles, Khalifa Territory. I've been trying to get I've been trying to get the letterhead, and he sent me an email in last week, and Monday morning I had 64,000 blank emails. Okay, so I changed my email.
You had what? 64,000 what?
Blank emails.
From where?
Well, they've been playing with my phone for a long time. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this is what happened. So I was trying to find out how I could get the letterhead.
Okay.
I really need it because I need to do something.
Okay. Do you have access right now to the chat?
No, I don't. I'm on my phone.
You don't?
I don't have
Okay.
WhatsApp on my phone.
I want you and Empress Princess Ali to exchange numbers, or if she could give you her email or something so she can send you the letterhead.
Okay. I had to change my email.
Okay.
So I've got a new email.
Okay.
I can give it to you right now because I don't care. I can give it to you.
Okay, if you don't mind, and you know these calls do go on the public record, you know, but we don't care either because ain't nothing they can do about, you know, what we're doing. So
right.
As long as we stay in honor, we're good.
The email is in my voice appellation, but the email is EASYHILL391@outlook.com.
So Easy Hill.
Yeah. 391.
What's the number?
At 391.
Okay.
At outlook.com.
At Outlook. Okay. Empress EasyHill391 at Outlook.com. Princess, I put it in the chat, Empress Princess. If you just send him please the letterhead so that he can have it. And anyone else here who needs the Moorish government letterhead in red and all lowercase letters, if you'll place your email in the chat, we'll get that to you. Princess, our Postmaster General, Empress Ali, will get that to you.
Islam. Thank you.
Islam. We want to go ahead and bring the call to a Empress. There's some emails coming in through the chat. Yes, we want to make sure that everyone gets the Moorish government letterhead so that they can begin using it, because all Moors are part and parcel for their sovereign government and should be speaking in government the way that government speaks. Okay? So having said that, we're going to go ahead and bring the call to a pause, and then we will pick back up again on Wednesday at, it will be 12 noon on Wednesday. And then also, yes, let's talk about the conjunction really quickly. This past weekend, there was a triple conjunction in alignment with the demonstration that was done, because we wanted all of the timing on our demonstrations to match. And this Saturday and tonight, there is a triple conjunction that brings it all together in alignment with our prophet's solar return date as well. And so the triple conjunction is Saturn. It is Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury. And where Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury are concerned, Jupiter is the planet of expansion. We're expanding, we're growing, etc. So we wanted to capitalize and take note of that. We wanted to, and when I say capitalize, I don't mean capitalize like capitalism. I mean make the best of it and use the energy to propel us forward. Jupiter is the expansion planet, and by expanding our sovereign empire back to what it was where mailing and the post office and the Universal Postal Union, the sovereign one, not the fake one, not the corporates, we're not even talking about them. We're talking about sovereigns only. Jupiter is in alignment with that. Saturn, the competence, work, and reward planet. We wanted to do a demonstration that would be propelled forward and the trajectory be right headed towards that target that we needed it to hit, and it hit the target, definitely. And so that's why we say when you plan your demonstrations, plan them on days where there's things going on in the cosmos so that your demonstration can use that energy as well to move up higher and higher and higher. And then Mercury is the transportation planet. That is key, because what most did not know is that it was our travel that was hindered. when we went to sleep, our travel was hindered. And it was hindered because we needed to be in our proper status. Not only be in our proper status, but be governing this vast estate in the way that we know we should. So when our travel was hindered, then they say, okay, everybody who's riding around in cars, okay, because we don't even have cars, we have conveyances. But everyone riding around in cars, we can pull them over whenever we get ready, and we can do this and we can do that. We can violate, we can take them to jail, we can do whatever. That was the court was saying that. Well, we have changed that system for us. And the change only happens when each Moor demonstrates that they're aware of that the change needed to be made. So for some Moors, if they're asleep, that system is still going to be attempting to operate. But for those who are active Moors, that's why the Prophet said, he mentioned active Moors. Because we need to be active in order to stop that system from operating in our own lives. The right to travel, yes, starts at the top. That's why it's important to know ourselves, because we're at the top. Thank you, Justice Gilmore, for that. The right to travel is a universal right. But we needed to fix it right here, right now, right where we are. So the triple conjunction was working in tandem with what we're doing. So
Islam.
Islam justice.
Just want to say a little bit about that, because it is the beginning and the end of everything. Whenever one can be caged up or locked in or stopped from anything, your right to move and do what you want is abridged. And when you allow that to happen, what happens eventually is the river dries up, nothing grows, and all shrivels to nothing. And dust has to return to dust. That is why the right to travel is so preeminently important, not just in the car, but in every single way, in the mind especially, because that's what has been inhibited. How we use our minds properly has been inhibited. That right, it only shows in the physical that we see the corporations taking charge and stuff. Again, remember, they are not playing a physical game. They use the physical stuff to intimidate. They are playing the high-level game as high as they can get. We must get higher up because we are way above them. But if we're operating looking up for things that they'll drop for us, we're done already. Islam, and we're so not done already. They're exactly.
Look, it's a wrap. We already did that, and now we just keep going. We keep moving forward. And with that being said, peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs, Islam. Peace.
Grand
Islam.
Peace and love. Islam.
Islam. Grand rising to the heirs.
Islam. Peace and love, Moors.
Yes. Paz y amor.
Grand rising.
Wow.